and we're back less than 24 hours from leaving you yesterday. WWE Night of Champions is in the books, and before we go any further, I will not go into much detail, but I will just say congratulations to the new WWE Undisputed Champion, Sami Zayn. No matter how you feel about it, he's one of those few people. We talk about those guys all the time. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about Sami Zayn, whether how you feel about him and the card placement. Congratulations. He's been around a long time, and I'm sure he's earned it. Paul Rogers with me as usual. Paul, how do you feel about Sami Zayn real quick? Just real quick.
I don't think it's the best decision, but we'll leave that for a more suitable time.
That's going to be next Sunday, because this is a big weekend in professional wrestling. We did our preview of Night of Champions yesterday, and we are back because in about 30 minutes, you're going to get the kickoff show for AEW Forbidden Door. Before we run down this card, is there anything on this card you've seen that you're looking forward to possibly looking over?
For a quick highlight of just one match before we break into it, I will say, out of everything that there's not much that necessarily intrigues me totally with this show. There's 2 or 3 okay, that'll be pretty good. But I have a feeling that Shota Umino versus Pac, there's something about that combination that I just sort of kind of go, okay, hold on. Hear them out. Let's see what they got. This could be something. But, that's going to be my personal highlight to sort of get into.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's definitely going to be a dark horse match that people don't expect to, especially like the full-blown American audience that never watches a whole lot of stuff. I agree with you. So let's just start I guess this is going to be the way it does. The buy-in TBS Championship Survival of the Fittest qualifying match. Sky Blue versus Micaiah. I'm not sure who that one is. So Maika. Maika. Okay.
I'm just trying. I'm not saying I know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying I'm trying.
The last time we saw Sky Blue, she lost to oh dear Lord. The young lady whose brother had passed away in the Owen Hart.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. I forget her name, but yeah.
Hold on, I'll tell you because she's on the card too. Maya World. There we go, Maya World. I don't know. They Sky Blue. They're kind of she's one of those stop and starts with me because they'll push her sometimes, and other times she loses a lot. So I don't know. I've never heard of the one young lady, so I apologize to her. But I'll go with Sky Blue in this one. Thoughts?
I'm as I'm looking at them, thinking about it, my eyes go to the Survival of the Fittest qualifying match. What does that mean? Is this just like
for the next? I think it's the next pay-per-view. They might be doing
number one contenders tournament. Something.
When Willow got hurt, she had to not only withdraw from the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, but she also had to vacate the TBS Championship. So these are so what these qualifiers are. I don't know if it's going to be a
for the belt or for the shot at the belt.
No, it's for the belt. There's going to be six competitors. Single
elimination.
But I don't know if it's going to be a gauntlet match or if they're all going to be 6 in the ring at one time. To me, they haven't done a good job of explaining what the Survival of the Fittest match is going to be. But all 6 of the ladies qualify are going to be in the match.
Just looking at the way it's formatted, what I'm going to say is Survival of the Fittest sounds like a elimination match because that sounds right.
I agree with you.
Then the qualifying match, extender or qualifier, whatever you want to call it, sounds like you and me are fighting for a chance to go into this gimmick match called Survival of the Fittest.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. It's like I said, Chris Statlander has already qualified. Hikaru Shida's qualified. There's been a couple other people. I think this is
going to be one of those. I don't know these two that well, to be honest. So
still on the buy-in as well, you've got the AEW Women's Tag Team titles with the Divine Dominion of Megan Bayne and Lena Cross versus Thunder Rosa and Olympia.
She's back.
Again.
I like Thunder Rosa, but she's.
I think they'll let them, get their shots in with Divine Dominion, but they're really putting these ladies over. And I mean, they're two good sized ladies. And I don't mean, you know.
And Megan Bain is I don't want to call it a sports entertainment gimmick, but she's got more of that type of presentation with the pose and everything. Like they loved her in Japan with that whoa look, that like Amazon kind of, you know, image. So
well, Lena Cross isn't no slouch, man. That's a big girl too.
I'm not saying that, but Megan Bain has that a little bit of that it factor. So
yeah, we've talked about her because I said when they you know, when she first came out with, I mean, she's been doing the same thing since she got there. You know, the whole headpiece, and because the first time I ever saw her, I'm like, I don't know if you've seen the series called Yellow Jackets, but I'm like, is she doing her best Yellow Jacket imitation there? What are we doing? But
oh, see, I'm first familiar with her through Tokyo Joshi, where she plays up she towers over the rest of everybody in Tokyo Joshi. You've seen the roster, a sample of the roster at least. So yeah, she can play that character that she plays here just a little bit better because she's just a few inches more taller than everybody else. But yeah, no, I like her and her presentation.
Yeah, and that's what I said. It's kind of like I said with Jade Cargill. It's like, you know, with that sports entertainment presentation, either like something's happening with her in the back, or WWE, or somebody missed the boat in WWE on her, or she didn't want to go. Who knows? I mean, they might have offered her a deal. I have no idea. But with her size, I was surprised that she did not wind up in WWE. But they are really pushing these ladies, and kind of like the female version of the Road Warriors almost, if you go back in history, of coming out and just that size difference and just beating everybody up. Yeah. Three-way tag team non-title match. The ROH World Tag Team Champions and CMLL World Trios Champions. El Sky Team Mascarada Dorda and CMLL World Lightweight Champion and IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champion Mystico versus the Young Bucks versus Unbound Co. Shingo Takagi and Titan, I think is how you say that.
Titan is how you. Yeah, Titan, yes. I love the Spanish names, but yeah, this is actually one of those matches where I look at it and go, finally something that feels like a forbidden door.
Yeah,
Mascarada Dorada is not necessarily a teammate of Mystico that I know of. This might just be hey, we have someone that we can kind of put with you. I don't know if they team in CMML and I'm missing that. Because Mystico's partner right now in New Japan, who is the other IWGP Tag Team Junior title holder, is El Desperado. And part of me is like, did El Desperado have like visa problems or something? Like, why is there a different person that I'm sort of picturing? Shingo and Titan have teamed a lot. That's something common because Shingo's a sort of bigger guy. Titan's your traditional luchador. So big guy, little guy combos are always fun. But yeah, this is one of those matches where it's like, this could be an actual international match, less American focused. You know, it depends on how much kind of input the Young Bucks have, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and to me, this one will be the Spot Fest Chaos match of the evening until we get to the last one. But as far as say regular match goes, three-way tag match, I think you know a lot of spots, a lot of probably holy shit moments in this match, and I would almost hate to follow it if I was like a normal competitor.
Just to give a little bit of extra information to show how clusterfuck this might become, Shingo Takagi is what some people call Will Ospreay's wrestling soulmate. If you go back and you watch the matches that Shingo and Will had, these are the matches that made Will go up because Shingo was able to kind of, you know, work with him, follow that dance without it being like an remember when Will fought Ricochet and everyone went, oh, Power Rangers, superheroes, and everyone complained?
Yeah.
Shingo was at least the guy to go, yeah, but if you do that flip, I'm going to take your head off with a lariat. And Will's like, yeah, it sounds good. So they had those ups and down moments. So it's like, just to add that little bit, like Shingo is one of those, I think he's former IWGP champ. So this is going to be a big match. Big match.
All right, then we move on, and we got the AEW World Tag Titles. Cope and Cage against Finlay and Connors. I don't see Cope and Cage dropping the titles in their first defense, but you never know. I don't know. I mean, you know, you tell me. I know Cage and Cope are a nostalgic act at this point in their careers, and I'm okay with it. they can still go, but not like they used to. I'm not real big on Finlay and Collins. What about you?
So a little bit of the history with David Finlay, just to get you familiar with the New Japan history, is okay. I'm gonna take a quick step back, but you'll know where I'm going with this. New Japan loves their gaijin heels. They love their foreigner heels. They'll bring in Brody, like I think Stan Hansen. They love, big ugly white men who do lariats, and they love to have that. It's not always big guys, but like Prince Devitt, Finn Balor was one of those like gaijin heels. Kenny Omega was one of those gaijin heels. Jay White was one of those gaijin heels. And everybody loved all of those guys because we love all of those guys. Everyone loves all those guys. And then they went, hey, you know who's next? David Finlay. And we all went, no.
Yeah, I've heard ups and downs on him. Some people are really high, and some people said he was just a pain in the ass. So
if okay, I'll phrase it this way: if David Finlay is in a 6-man match, I'm fine with that. That's fine. They tried to put the world title on him and make him like the big gaijin heel, and everyone went, nah, dog, we're not doing that.
Thanks, but no thanks.
So this is perfect for him. Clark Connors is charismatic and a workhorse, so he can do the physical lifting, and Coping Cage can just do all the veteran spots that they need to do. They don't really have to work. They just have to like. What's Chrissy Cage going to do in this match? Can we run down the eye poke, back rake, low blow? Does he do the clap of the ears to disorient? Like grab the ref, kick? Probably. So I could.
He's been so good on the mic since he got to AEW, and they let him go heel. That his in-ring stuff I hadn't really paid attention to be honest with you.
I could see it potentially being a like slower match depending on how Cope and Cage want to pace it, but I think the dogs can work that slower pace, that kind of heavier handed, slow it down, brother pace.
And remember, if you think you're going slow, go slower.
Oh my god.
And the one you talked about at the beginning, the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, Umino versus Pac, whatever you want to call him. Like we talked about at the very beginning, that pay attention to that match. It really could steal the show. And then you got Zack Sabre versus Kenny Omega. Now they're building this as like they did with Bryan Danielson as a technical wrestler match. Now correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be. I did not watch a lot of Kenny Omega in Japan.
Okay.
I don't look at Kenny as a technical wrestler.
No. Kenny would be okay. So if we were to have qualifications to put Kenny under, Kenny would fall under the same qualification as like a Shawn Michaels. Like I would call them like a Showtime wrestler, like a big time, more of a, I don't know the right expression, but I wouldn't call them like technical. They're not Dean Malenko. They're not like an old school kind of, I'm going to put you in a hold and it's going to be a weird one you've never seen before. Kenny Omega is like big wind up presentations. Bum. He's almost like theatrical, Shakespearean in all his motions, right? So I don't see this as a technical match. I would present this as I'm not good at like Roman history or any of the like religious like minor gods or whatever you would call them, like saints, patron saints or whatever. Like there's lots of smaller religious. I would say Kenny is the god that's like an older god that's aging, and Zack is the hip, the now. And it's like, does Kenny Omega, this aging god on the sort of way out, does he have enough to still fight the guy who's the top, the tippity top of the absolute world? So it's like you could tell that story, but I don't think they want to put Kenny Omega in any sort of light of he's old. They don't want to highlight that, so that's fair.
Yeah, and the last time we saw Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door, he lost to Bryan Danielson. So it's like, does he come back over to take another loss, or did they let him go over Kenny? Because what
Was
if
it
that's the case? What are we doing
when
with Kenny?
he lost to Bryan Danielson? If I remember correctly, he got that win back in Japan like a month later. So depending on your viewership of wrestling, that story kind of like, you know what I mean. He finally got over, and Daniel put him over. But if you don't look that way and only watch this way, yeah, it might be a we got to make Kenny look good.
That was my point, because of
Yeah.
if you bring him over and Kenny beats him, for the people that only look this way, they don't see
It's
Zach.
repetition on this. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, moving on, and this one here sums up my my issue with AEW booking. Jon Moxley defending the Continental Championship against Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito. Now, I don't have anything to do with Bandito. I don't. But every time you see Bandito, he's doing anything but defending the Ring of Honor World Championship. The way this match came about, not sure if you saw the highlights of Dynamite a couple of weeks ago, but him and Garcia wrestled Brodito. First time they had teamed for a while. Brodito got the win. And they were back in the back having some kind of interview, and Moxley just kind of walked up and looked at Bandito and said, "If you want to take a shot," because of course Garcia was the one that got pinned. And
there's no better feud. Was it whose line is it anyway? Where they were playing a game and they're like things to say to someone if you want to start a fight, and one of the guys just walks out and goes, "Hey, you want to fight?"
Yeah, pretty much.
Classic wrestling feud.
Like I said, I don't have an issue with Bandito. It's just, he's the Ring of Honor World Champion. Why are we going after AEW Tag Gold? Why are we going after the Continental title? If you want to put him on this show, put him defending the Ring of Honor World title against somebody from CMLL or New Japan. That's my take.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah, I would switch these guys out for something else. Because even Shota Umino, not to cut you off there, sorry, but Shota Umino was a young lion that Jon Moxley picked up when he went to New Japan. He called him Shooter, and they had this whole story years ago. So how hard would it be to go Moxley Shooter versus, I guess Pac's in the Death Riders, so that would be a little bit of a mix-up. But you could always do like Shota versus Mox and have that story of like, who are you now? You're not, you play that up. But yeah, it's a
to me,
the Bandito choice. I agree with you.
I mean, you could actually get two matches out of this. Have Moxley against somebody from, like you said, New Japan, and then have Bandito defend against somebody from CMLL. I mean, to make it a truly forbidden door. This is people we see, pretty much on a weekly basis. But
there's not a New Japan show for like a week. And I know there's travel and that makes a bit of a problem. But like, you can't tell me that you couldn't send Hartley Jackson, one of the guys on the lower card. You couldn't send Francesco Akira. Like, where's all the junior heavyweights that are not in the G1? You can't, like, where's El Desperado, who's an amazing wrestler that everyone should know more about, but is this direction, like we're using that metaphor. So it's like, yeah, Jon Moxley could have fought someone a bit more applicable. Desperado would have been a great idea because Despy's a hardcore guy. And I'm sure Moxley, if you said to, hey, Moxley, let's do the skewer to the forehead bit, he would have been like, you're my best friend. Let's do that.
And that aspect also, with Moxley being the caliber star known worldwide that he is, you could have actually pulled the prize and let him win, and then have Moxley go to Japan to get the title back. But then we got the Women's World Championship, Tekla, the Toxic Spider, versus the Starlight Kid, who I told you they strategically showed highlights of her beating up Julia, which I always love when companies do that. I don't care which one it is doing it. I think it's kind of comical. With all this was tough. I don't see Tekla losing the title, but it's like all the stuff they let her do, trying to shave the owner of Stardom's head, spitting on the Stardom logos, and this side and the other. If the Starlight Kid loses, I mean, it's like, what are you doing?
She's been in Stardom too. Like, she showed up in their ring, and they doing an interpromotional thing, which I always love, because this is what me as a fan, this is what you should be doing in wrestling. So let's say I'm a big Tekla fan. We're all Team Tekla. She's fighting Starlight Kid. Oh, to follow the story of Thekla versus Starlight Kid, I have to watch this other show to catch up all of it. The hope is you watch a show and you go, oh, this is kind of good. I like Stardom. I'll keep watching it. Because to be fair, Stardom is it's not amazing. It's not the be all end all, but it's a pretty like fairly good product. So like I would recommend people watch it, but you never know who's going to turn the channel and go, oh, I'm going to continue to watch this. And now we got more viewers and now we can send more talent. Because Starlight Kid is, from what I know, a good example of someone to send over. I love the Tiger Mask. What do we call that? Callback? What do we call that?
Throwback,
yeah, because she's got basically the Tiger Mask, but like, for lack of a better term, feminized. It's very colorful and bedazzled, and yeah, I don't know. I like Starlight Kid. I like her look and everything.
Oh, well, then we move on to the women's finals of the Owen Hart tournament. Mercedes Moné against Maya World, who a lot of people didn't know who she was until this tournament. Her brother passed away. She took somebody's spot. I forgot who it was. Mercedes was actually the one that took Willow's spot when Willow had to bow out of the tournament due to injury. I can see this one going either way. Mercedes won it last year. Her two big losses in AEW were both times that she got a shot at the women's world title. Until Willow beat her for the TBS title, and that was on her way down and losing all those belts that she had. I looked at this as kind of her redemption story coming back to win the women's title. But if she goes if Thekla keeps the title, and then we get Mercedes against Thekla, you got two full-blown heels going one-on-one, which you don't see a lot of these days. Maya World, though, I mean, I like I said, I can see this one going both ways because Tony Khan. Like him, hate him, don't like what he don't like what he does, like what he does. He cares about his people. It's very obvious he cares about his people, and I think he gave her this spot and put her this far I'm sure to take her mind off of stuff and
But there's a little bit of lightning in the bottle with it because it's a special story that can't be told, that can't be manufactured, because it is tragic that something happened to her personally. The loss of a family member is one of the most devastating things. Like, wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy type of things.
Absolutely.
So her saying to herself, well, this is how I want to manage grief and go through it, is I want to focus on wrestling and at least have an outlet emotionally, creatively, all that. That's, I find, very healthy. So when someone hears that story, everyone goes, I can get that. We've all had that feeling. We've all had that position in our lives. And we go, yes, we get it. So lightning in a bottle. We have the sympathetic story that can't be manufactured. Let's use that for something to kind of build her up. Is she going to win? No. Is Moné going to go 26 minutes with this girl? Probably. Because we can give her a win that doesn't put her over in that sense, but puts her over in that lower sense. I probably said that wrong, but you know what I mean. She doesn't have to win to look like $1 million, and Moné knows how to make people look like $1 million.
And I agree with you for the most part. I'm just, they let her beat Athena in this tournament. Kind of the almost exact identical to the same way Sami Zayn won last night with a, out of nowhere roll up. I can see that again. I mean, like I said, I agree with you. I'm pretty sure Mercedes is going to win. However, if Maya World roll her, I don't think it's going to be like a finish or a tap out or something like that. But I can completely see Maya World winning via roll up or something like that.
Now we're wrestling. Now it's like what's that? It's Always Sunny. It's like business talk. So she has this compelling story, and now she has match in-ring moments to look back on, to build. So when they do the video package, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, no, we got movement here. We can push her up the card slowly, but use moments like this to kind of take that next step.
The one that I'm looking forward to seeing, and we talked about this already, not in depth, but I told you this was the match of the weekend that I wanted to see. Ospreay Strickland 2 in AEW. Now, I know they wrestled all around the world. One of the things that really got me onto Will Ospreay was, I'm sure you remember the talk when he signed with AEW. Everybody's like, oh, Will's got to be world champion. Will's got to be world champion. And Will's done the interview where he came out and said it was his decision. He went to Tony and said, put me against Swerve so he can beat me, and then we can both move on. He can go do his thing and get my name out of his title run. So and this is for a shot at the title at Wembley. There's no way in hell Ospreay doesn't win this match, in my opinion. But I think it will. I think it will by far and away be the match of the night.
I think when it comes to that pacing of American wrestling, where it's like those spikes, like whoa, 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 that's going to be this match. As much as people have told Will Ospreay to like pump the brakes, and he kind of has, Swerve Strickland is an amazing athlete, and pairing them together is like pairing those two troubled kids. You know those kids, like, you ever done like any work with kids and you see those two together and you go, no, separate immediately. I cannot have you in the same room. I feel like Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland are that. I don't think they're bad. You know what I mean? I don't want to think they're, but it's like mischief. Don't do that poison rana onto the floor. Stop it, kids. Don't do the stair spot. You guys are almost 40. You might be 40.
Well, Swerve bringing back the vertebreaker the last few months. I was like, and I forgot what. He did it to Brody. That's who he did it to. I'm like, he went to set him up. I'm like, he is not going to do that to that bit. Oh, yes, he is.
Pull it back.
But again, for me, this will be the match tonight. This is the one I want to see. And again, it's AEW. Anything can happen. But to me, there's no way in hell Ospreay loses. How about, what say you?
Yeah, I don't know exactly where they are in the storyline for this, but yeah, it'd be tough. It'd be tough to convince me that Will Ospreay would lose this, but it might be another good up in the notch of Swerve Strickland to keep getting these sort of massive wins under his belt. So
yeah, but see, this is the story. That's what I was saying. The winner of this match gets the title shot for the world title in Wembley Stadium.
Oh, right. I don't know how I blanked on that, but yeah, it's definitely Will Ospreay. Like,
yeah. I mean, again, it's AEW. Anything can happen. Would I be shocked? No. Surprised? Yes, if Swerve won. But like, to me, there's just no way in hell that Ospreay loses this match. And then we get to the last one, which is the clusterfuck of the night.
They always have one.
I'm assuming this will be the final match. It's listed last. If it's not, I wouldn't want to follow it. But it is your 12-man cage match. Team Don Callis MJF, consisting of MJF and the Don Callis families: Kevin Knight, Kyle Fletcher, Jake Doyle, Kazuchika Okuchi, and Andrade El Idolo, versus Team Briscoe of Mark Briscoe, the conglomeration of Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Konosuke Kateska and Darby Allin. So
hear me out. After the buy-in, we start the show with this match.
I would completely agree with you.
Then everything else. So your main event, whatever the main event could be, because Kenny Zach could be the main event, Will Swerve could be the main event. Yeah, those are the two that, looking at it, could also be legitimately the main event. Like, it's hard to beat Zach versus Kenny, but I'd put this first, and then have a kind of let the energy lull for a bit, and then Will Ospreay, and then the Kenny Omega Zack Sabre as the finish. That's how I would sort of book this.
The way I would do it, I would start with this match. I agree with you, but my final two matches, because it is to get a title, the title's not on the line tonight. So since the world title's not on the line, my final two matches would be the Owen Hart Foundation tournaments finals, the women's and then the men's. Mercedes Maya and Will and Strickland. I would start with this cage match, and then I would have Kenny and Zach somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's true. Because Taker Sean was somewhere in the middle, wasn't it? Or weren't they earlier?
They were fourth.
Yeah.
They were not happy. They're like, okay, all right, watch what we can go do.
Yeah.
But this is for if Team Briscoe wins, Mark gets another shot at the AEW title. If he loses, he doesn't. So there's no reason that his team should not win. MJF has been very demeaning to the Don Callis family, and Don's had, especially when it comes to Andrade. And Don's like, the money. And on Dynamite, Andrade picked up somebody and let MJF hit him with the Dynamite Diamond Ring. But then last night on Collision, they went to do the same thing. I want to say it was Darby, but it doesn't really matter who it was because they moved, and he hit Andrade with the Dynamite Diamond Ring. So that tension is flaring there. I do believe that Mark will pin MJF in this, and I do believe it'll be because Andrade does something. Just the way they've been setting up the story. And then Andrade can also get his world title match before we go to All In London, where Ospreay gets his shot.
Yeah, because Mark's not going to be world champion. He's like, I love him, but he's just not that guy. Like, he's your Dolph Ziggler. He's your sort of gatekeeper to the main event, and that's perfect for him. He's that, he could lose every single match, and it would put people over, and it wouldn't make him look any worse. So he's in. I would put him right there, and so he's going to lose to put over the next person, and then he can go down, and he's the one
carrying
the story for other people.
Yeah, he's the one, in my opinion. You do the dusty finishes with. The referee counts 3, and he's jumping up and down, and the referee looks over at MJF's foot's on the rope, or his hands on the rope, or whatever, and Mark's jumping around, and the ref's trying to tell him that the match has to continue, and then MJF hits the low blow while the referee's in front of Mark, and you get the whole storytelling there. But yeah, I think Mark would be, because he's because of the whole Jay thing and the way people love Mark Briscoe, to get people passionate about it. You let him get that close, and you let him think he won, but then you pull the dusty finish, you pull it right out.
I just thought of this looking at the team that he's on. He's the only type of character in this team that would push a story forward. Cassidy, Strong, Riley, Takeshita, Darby Allin. Well, Takeshita's called the Alpha Wolf. So a lot of these guys are like too cool for school. They wouldn't push a story forward. They're cool characters to have in a story, but they're not going to make it happen. Mark Briscoe's the type of character on screen that's like, no, we need shit to always be constantly moving and yelling and all. Like, you can tell he's a big fan of the Bushwhackers in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like, there needs to be movement, and things need to be moving forward. So he's the type of person to argue and fight with the other team, while the other team, without that instigation, might just be like, yeah, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. But if anybody never saw the Bushwhackers as the Sheep Herders before they went to WWF, you need to go watch them. Completely different team, completely different presentation, bloodthirsty animals before they got there. The heels everywhere they went. But, the big issue I have with this match, and because again, this is an AEW pay-per-view. You've got your TNT champion in there. You've got your international champion in there. You've got your world champion in there. Now you could have. I don't know. The Mark MJF storyline. I feel like this match could have been done, because they're pushing Beach Break or so whatever it is, like next week on Dynamite. Mm-hmm. But for a truly Forbidden Door, all 3 of those titles could have been defended against people from different companies that you have worked with.
I thought Tsuji was doing some sort of Twitter beef with someone in AEW, and they were I thought they were promoting it as Japan loves a good old, balanced work shoot. What you're saying is real, but maybe the tension isn't. So they were just like, hey, the relationship between AEW and New Japan and blah, blah, blah. And, you guys deserve what you get and blah, blah, blah. So I always thought, this is Tsuji coming to AEW to put his foot down, to put down the IWGP belt and say, you know what I mean? You want to talk bad about New Japan, you fucking bring it, and have him beat somebody. And then everybody goes, whoa, who's this Tsuji guy? We got to bring him back. This belt's awesome. You know what I mean? You got something, but
like I said, there's 3 champions in this match that I think they could have. Well, actually 4 if you count the trios champions, Cassie, Strong, and O'Reilly. But I think they could have done something better with that, in my personal opinion, and done this on a Dynamite like they did. It wasn't the Stadium Stampede; they did something else. But
here I have a little 2 cents to put in. Wow, I just thought of this. Okay, so we're talking about AEW versus New Japan. Will versus Swerve. As much as it's a story, like an important story part that needs to happen building up to All In, I get that. For Forbidden Door, Will Ospreay is currently IWGP Trios champions with Hanare and Great-O-Khan. Bring them in. Who are the Ring of Honor Trios champions? It's like Shane Smith. It
was Dustin and the Von Erichs before Dustin got hurt, but
Well, that would have been perfect, but it's like, here's your New Japan versus Ring of Honor match. The gist
Now you're gonna make me look. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm just looking.
But it's like Shane Taylor Productions is the person I'm thinking of. But yeah, you're right. He might not have the belt right now, but that would have been a more Forbidden Door type match. And you don't have to make it a
Dalton Castle and the Outrunners are the champions.
There you go. And it doesn't have to be a storyline match. You can just have a fun 6-man to open the show and just call it a day and put over the Ring of Honor guys, or whatever you got to do. But you can't have Forbidden Door without. It's just weird not having a lot of the more attractive, for lack of a better term, New Japan talents.
Yeah.
There's no Doki. There's no Yo. Like, some of these guys would look more presentable on a AEW show. They have more applicable gimmicks.
Well, that's the full card for Forbidden Door this evening. So, you got our thoughts on it. Tell us what you think in the comments. You can go to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you want to connect with us at. And we will be back here next Sunday to go over the results of not only Forbidden Door, but Night of Champions. I look for us around 8 o'clock next week. I always like to say 8-ish because it's the way things go. But, that's how we do. And, subscribe, hit that like button, hit a share, and all that fun stuff. AEW Forbidden Door, the pre-show has begun right now. You can see that for free on YouTube. Then you can get the main pay-per-view on either YouTube. You can get it for $10 cheaper on HBO Max if you have a subscription. You can see it on Google Play. You can see it on Amazon.
Is it on my AEW, or is that not a thing yet?
I haven't looked into that so far yet, so I'm not sure.
Fair enough.
But, that is the pay-per-view. You got about 45 minutes left of the pre-show, of the buy-in, as they like to call it. So go check it out. For Paul, I'm Jason, and we will see you next Sunday night.